Shocking news. Yoo Yeon-seok rejected Kim Ji-won 3 times, the bitter truth behind the rumors. Why would he turn her down not once, but 3 times? What really happened between the two stars? Love, pride, or something darker? Let Red Carpet Revealed take you inside the scandal and uncover the truth right now. It started as whispers in the corridors of K-drama fandom, the kind of story that seems too wild to be true. But as the whispers grew into headlines and hashtags, the question could no longer be ignored: why did Yoo Yeon-seok, the charming star known for his warmth and wit, reject Kim Ji-won, one of Korea's most beloved actresses, not just once, but 3 times? What bitter truth lay beneath this tangled web of love, pride, and silence? The first signs came during a glittering awards ceremony nearly 2 years ago. Both stars had been nominated for their roles in the year's biggest drama. Kim Ji-won arrived wearing a breathtaking floor-length emerald gown, her smile as radiant as ever. Across the room, Yoo Yeon-seok stood in a classic black tuxedo, his gaze occasionally, and noticeably, flicking toward her. Fans watching live immediately picked up on the tension, flooding social media with comments like, "Are they together? And look at how he looks at her." But behind that glamorous exterior, something else was brewing. According to a staff member who was present backstage, Kim Ji-won approached him that night quietly during a break. She handed him a small note, smiled nervously, and disappeared before he could respond. The note, sources say, was a heartfelt request to meet privately after the ceremony, a confession of feelings she had been carrying for months. Yet, when the ceremony ended, Yoo Yeon-seok left through a different exit. Fans and staff alike were left puzzled, with one insider whispering later, "He read it, and he just walked away." That was the first rejection. Months passed, but the buzz didn't die down. Fans speculated endlessly about what had happened that night. Were they secretly dating? Was he avoiding her? Was it all just media fantasy? Then came the second blow, even more public than the first. During the promotional tour for their joint movie, they were spotted dining at a quiet restaurant after a press event. Paparazzi captured them laughing, their heads bent close together, wine glasses clinking. Headlines screamed, "Yoo Yeon-seok and Kim Ji-won, late-night rendezvous sparks dating rumors." The very next morning, however, Yoo Yeon-seok's agency issued a blunt statement: "The two are colleagues. There is no romantic relationship." Kim Ji-won reportedly learned about this statement at the same time as everyone else, through her phone, from a fan message. Witnesses claim she looked visibly shaken at the next press event, her smile slightly tighter, her answers shorter. He, on the other hand, remained calm, even distant, as though nothing had happened. That was the second rejection. By now, the public had taken sides. Some saw her as a victim of his coldness, others defended him as simply being professional. Social media was divided, with hashtags like #TeamG1 and #SupportYeon-seok trending for days. But nothing prepared anyone for the third and final rejection. It happened months later. The two were cast again as leads in a highly anticipated melodrama. Fans rejoiced at the announcement, convinced that this was their chance at a real romance both on and off the screen. The press conference was electric, cameras flashed, reporters hurled questions, and the chemistry between them was undeniable. Then, after the press event, behind closed doors, she made one last attempt. According to a staff member who overheard the exchange, Kim Ji-won reportedly told him quietly but firmly, "This is the last time I'll ask. If you still feel nothing, just say so." And he did. Without hesitation. "We're just professionals, G1. That's all we can ever be." Witnesses say her face fell, but she nodded, turned away, and didn't look back. Thus ended the trilogy of rejection, each more painful, more public, and more baffling than the last. As the press began to speculate wildly, calling him heartless, calling her reckless, fans couldn't stop asking, was it really pride ? Or was there something darker lurking behind his refusals? Something neither of them dared to speak aloud. After the third rejection, silence between them became deafening. Kim Ji-won continued to fulfill her professional commitments with quiet grace, but fans noticed she smiled less in interviews, her answers grew more guarded. Meanwhile, Yoo Yeon-seok maintained his polished image, but if you looked closely, there were cracks, a certain weariness in his eyes, a hesitation in his laugh. The public clamored for answers. Tabloids printed wild theories. One headline blared, "Secret girlfriend. Is Yoo Yeon-seok already taken?" Alongside blurry photos of him with an unidentified woman. Another claimed he was under pressure from his agency to avoid any romantic entanglement that could tarnish his clean image. One stylist who had worked with both of them spoke anonymously. "He always looked torn, like he wanted to say yes but couldn't. There were moments when he stared at her like she was the only person in the room, and then he'd look away, his jaw, and leave." The most shocking allegation came from a former friend of Yoo Yeon-seok, who claimed that years earlier he had fallen deeply in love, and been brutally betrayed, leaving him unwilling to risk opening his heart again. According to the source, Kim Ji-won reminded him too much of that old wound. Was it fear? Was it loyalty to someone else? Or simply emotional damage too deep to heal? Meanwhile, the consequences rippled outward. Brands that had signed the two as a pair began to back out, citing uncomfortable public sentiment. Ratings for their drama suffered as fans, divided and bitter, boycotted the show. Fan pages exploded with arguments. "He's cold and selfish, she deserves better. She crossed the line, he has every right to say no." They're both victims of this toxic industry. Weeks, social media was a war zone. Hashtags like #LetThemBe and #Respect Their Choices trended globally. Fans begged for the frenzy to stop. Then, just when the chatter began to quiet down, Yoo Yeon-seok broke his silence. In an emotional post to his personal page, he wrote, "I never meant to hurt anyone. Least of all her. Sometimes silence is the only way I know how to protect someone, and myself. I wish her nothing but happiness." He didn't elaborate. Hours later, Kim Ji-won posted a simple response, "I've always believed in honesty, that's all I'll say." Her words were brief but heavy, and once again, speculation flared. Was his silence really protection, or cowardice? Was her honesty a cry for closure, or defiance? Fans analyzed every sentence, every emoji, every photo. Behind the scenes, however, both seemed to retreat further into themselves. One production assistant who saw them on set weeks later said, "They didn't speak." But there was something in the air between them, regret, maybe, or unfinished business. What the public saw was a man and a woman standing on opposite sides of an emotional battlefield, each unwilling or unable to cross the line that divided them. But those closest to them knew the truth was far more complicated, tangled in the expectations of a brutal industry, haunted by scars no one else could see, weighed down by feelings that couldn't be spoken aloud. In the end, perhaps the real tragedy was not that she asked, nor that he refused, that neither of them found a way to meet in the middle. And so, the story of Yoo Yeon-seok and Kim Ji-won became a cautionary tale whispered in the halls of the entertainment world, a reminder of how fame can magnify feelings, distort choices, and leave even the strongest hearts fractured. Lights went out on their joint drama. The fans moved on to the next scandal. But somewhere, behind closed doors, two people were left alone with their memories, and their regrets. Sometimes the bitter truth isn't about who said no, but about all the things left unsaid.